Hi everyone, Fuelthany Fire Tano here, the internet's busiest music nerd, and it's time for a review of this new Tinashe project, baby/angel. Okay, let's talk about Kentucky native pop and R&B singer and songwriter Tinashe. She is an industry veteran at this point, however recently she has been making moves that have me looking at her like she's a new artist entirely. If you don't already know, this woman's career goes all the way back to the 2000s, where she was landing child acting roles and was also 1/5 of the short-lived girl group The Stunners. She rebranded in the early and mid-2010s, went solo, and was dropping mixtapes that showed her riding the spacey alternative R&B wave that was taking over at the time, which eventually led to a record deal with RCA, a 3-album run, and then a split with the label in 2019. To which I have to wonder what happened. Honestly, I'm not entirely sure. From the outside, it looked like Tinashe had all of the industry support one would need, the right producers, big features, positive reviews, a few notable hits as well, but none of that could really turn around the reality of dwindling album sales with each new project, I guess. In my personal opinion, I was never really crazy about any of these records and often found Tinashe's work to be maybe a little average or just another face in the growing alt R&B crowd. But since parting ways with RCA, Tinashe seems to be going through this moment of realignment. She did a season of Dancing with the Stars and also had a lead role in a Fox-produced live performance of Rent, and she has still very much been active on the musical front as well, albeit independently. And dare I say, her music has been growing more and more interesting since, to the point where I was actually kind of surprised by the quality of her last record, 333, where she was actually picking some wild production and bringing some of her most eccentric vocal performances yet. Her singing on the title track of the record brings almost some Kate Bush vibes at a few points, and now her independent and creative progression continues on to this next record, where her sound is getting even catchier and more mystical. Case in point, the intro track, Treason, where Tinashe sings dramatically about desire over these persistent chimey synthesizers and droning bass. It doesn't come to a climactic finish or anything, but there is a powerful energy to it when it's at peak intensity. It's a fine tone setter for this project. But from here we get what I think are two of her most creative and catchy singles to date. There's the Hypnotic Talk to Me Nice, which is a head-nodding R&B cut with a prickly trap beat, these persistent sample hits too. The vocals are a mix of cold but also sensual because she knows what she wants on this track and she's not messing around. And it's kind of hard not to fall for the allure of it all. The next track off the project is the single Needs. Now at this point narratively it's pretty clear what those needs are. They're not air, water, and sleep. The song brings a familiar topic, but the storytelling and the detail and the lyrics are a nice touch, and the nimble ascending and descending melodies on a pretty lengthy chorus on this cut. It's one of the snappiest hooks that she's ever put on a record. Hands on my knees. Following this, we get more baby-making music with This track has a slow, patient beat and almost crushing amount of bass. I wish it varied more, but it has grown on me a lot since I first heard it, as it's just oozing sex appeal from every angle, and I think Tinashe shows a lot of vocal range on the track too. There's also a switch in narrative on this track, which I'm guessing is very much intentional, as the sex she's been singing about up until this point seemed like it was just a physical thing that she could maintain a certain amount of distance from, but now on this track she's back for more, and there's a bit of a pull that wasn't there prior now. Maybe even an emotional connection establishing too. This track narratively digs deeper into the emotional complications of it all, though I will say instrumentally, between Tinashe's very light and airy vocals and kind of the vintage dance pop shuffling beats in the background on this thing, this is very much bringing like a Pink Panther-esque kind of vibe, and I feel like she's kind of inhabiting that lane in a very quirky and effective way that this song isn't really living up to. I don't feel like this track is effectively scratching a nostalgic itch either. However, we do get more spacey and surreal R&B, very much in the vein of 333 on the track None of My Business. The instrumental, the vocal performance is great, and once more the narrative keeps pushing forward. With Tinashe now having these growing reservations, we can't keep meeting like this. If there's someone else, that's none of my business. The on-again, off-again routine of this sexual connection is bringing her down, and she likens it to a drug, trying trying to quit this person effectively. We're really moving through a situationship heartbreak connection on this thing. And listening to it all, you can really tell Tinashe mapped all this out. Now, the closer, Tightrope, and yes, this is a pretty short project at 7 tracks and 20 minutes. This track ties the entire thing up. Sonically, we're getting a very persistent beat on this thing, and Tinashe is sliding on it in a pretty unique way. I can't think of a whole lot of R&B singers that are flowing on production like this in specifically this fashion. On top of it, the track overall has the aesthetics of a futuristic Y2K R&B orgasm, and narratively, this track runs very much like an epilogue to this not so much a love story, where she's trying to transcend it all, move on, but simultaneously not entirely over all of it, and could very much easily see herself going back to this person once again. So I'll say this is my favorite Tinashe project so far, and that feels like a bit of a weird thing to say, because obviously it's so late in her career at this point. The record is kind of short, and it does leave me wanting more, but simultaneously, in this short amount of time, she does move through an entire concept of sorts, and of the 7 tracks here, the vast majority of them are bops. I mean, even the lowest moments on this thing have elements worth admiring. I'll close up this video to reiterate that I'm really liking the direction that she has been moving in since separating from RCA. She seems to be getting bolder and better, more creative, and just a little more left field while also maintaining some semblance of commercial appeal. And I hope everyone else out there who's still listening to Tinashe's stuff is noticing the sea change and growth in her art as well. I'm feeling a strong 7 to a light 8 on this one. Transition, have you given this album a listen? Did you love it? Did you hate it? What would you rate it? You're the best, you're the best. What should I review next? Hit the like if you like. Please subscribe, and please don't cry. Hit the bell as well. Over here next to my head is another video that you can check out. Hit that up, or the link to subscribe to the channel. Anthony Fantano, Tinashe, forever.